Detroit Lions got a great bounce-back win over their division rival in Chicago in Week 16. Now they get to travel to San Francisco for Monday Night Football to take on the 49ers, who are now officially eliminated from the playoffs. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 17 Monday Night Football matchup between the Lions and Niners. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and we hope you all have a phenomenal week with your family. If you like the content that we put out and you're excited for the 2025 offseason, be sure to subscribe to the Tracy Take and tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. While you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win and why. And Ryan, Lions got a great bounce-back win against their division rival. Even Dan Campbell had that press interview that I'm sure like everybody has seen that went viral, like how we're not going to win 11 in a row, but we're going to come back, like we're going to keep doing it again. And be like, if you don't want to run through a brick wall watching that, like I would be like, shoot, like I'm at my desk working, and I'm like, holy cow, like I'm all amped up for the day now. And you just kind of knew, yeah, the Bears were not going to win this game today. They already were not going to win because the Bears aren't really that good. But yeah, like Dan Campbell, such an amazing coach. They're going to be going up against San Francisco, who their season's been shot. And it's really unfortunate season for San Francisco with all the injuries that they've had. But went down to Miami and lost. Miami still has like their playoff hopes alive, so they were playing for a little bit more, but fell just short. And kind of with everything going on in San Francisco, going to be very curious on what San Francisco needs to do in the offseason to kind of get back to that NFC Championship Super Bowl contender form that we're used to seeing from them. But in this game, though, I think Detroit, they're going to have a bunch of fun momentum going on for Monday Night Football. And my big concern for them is that they don't think about the Week 18 matchup against the Vikings. So I want to throw it over to you. What are some of the things, if the Lions don't come out and play their best, what are some things the 49ers can do to exploit this Lions defense?
Well,
this Lions team?
So for me, a lot of the injuries that have started to pile up have been on the defensive side of the football for this Lions team, and so I feel like that defense is more vulnerable than ever. So this offensive line, if they can get that downhill running game going, take advantage of some of the injuries at corner with this wide receiver room, Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, George. I'll throw George Kittle in there, even though he's a tight end. And so, like, I think there are places that this 49ers team can definitely take advantage of. And so getting pressure on Goff, I think, like, you have Nick Bosa, and he can beat any tackle in the league. So getting after Goff, I think, is going to be important. The one thing I don't want them to do is cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have him in fantasy, and I knock on wood, it looks like I'm going to make it into the Week 17 championship, but we'll have to see how tomorrow night goes with Josh Jacobs. But I really think like this 49ers team, they were mathematically eliminated like about 20 minutes before the game started against the Dolphins, but then they still came out and they just didn't have a very inspiring performance. And like for me, even with the injuries, this Lions defense has been playing well. Like they've rallied to the football really well. They've played high energy. Like they haven't been playing at the highest of levels, but they still have done a pretty good job of rallying to the football and like playing good team defense. And so for me, I think that's going to be kind of the big thing is, can they bust a few big plays, get in scoring position a couple times and just really see like if they can exploit some of the injuries here for this Lions team.
Yeah, no, and that's going to be the biggest thing is because you look at it. I mean, even with the injuries that the Niners have, still got Brock Purdy, they still got Deebo Samuel, they still got George Kittle. Juwan Jennings has been playing well. Ricky Pearsall has been having a good rookie season once he's come back from his. Well, I guess I don't want to say injury. I mean, because he got shot. So I don't know how you call that.
Yeah, I don't know how you call that either. But
yeah, but let us know in the comments. But I'm glad he's okay and that he's been playing because he's been fun to watch, and I think he's going to be fun for this 49ers team. And so that's what I'm saying. There's still these weapons that are here. They've been battling. I think the biggest thing for the Niners that they have been struggling with is it's not the same defensive line feel. I feel like as it was last year when they made their Super Bowl run. A lot of their guys left outside of Nick Bosa. Yeah. And so those guys that have come back just hasn't been the same. Then they've also been battling injuries as well. The Fred Warner's been playing on a fractured ankle or something like that all season, which has just been wild. Yeah. And even too, just like to think about it as well, they're still battling a couple of other injuries. Leonard Floyd, he left the game, and also Dre Greenlaw, he also left the game as well today. So those are just more injuries that they're going to have to monitor going into this matchup. But and even to your point, I think one of the weaknesses that the Niners might want to address in the offseason, they will address in the offseason. Offensive line still just needs to keep improving. Like they have Trent Williams, but I actually don't know if he has been playing. Need to go, I can't remember if he played today or not, but still just overall just need to keep on improving in that category. And I think that's just where the Lions, to your point, even through all the injuries, still just that next man up mentality, and they're just still super aggressive, high energy, getting after the ball. And they're going to have to somehow slow down this team so they can have some sort of rushing attack.
Trent Williams did not play.
He did not play. I know he's had some personal stuff going on too, and I know he's been battling some injuries. So I hope that he's doing okay in just in general. If the Niners are not able to protect Brock Purdy or develop any running game, even through all the other crazy amount of injuries that they've had in the running back room as well, then they kind of become one dimensional, so a little bit easier to guard against. And so that's where, for me, kind of going into this matchup, Detroit, they lost to the 49ers last year. This is a big grudge match for them. And if I'm not mistaken, too, as well, they could have a little bit of hope potentially going into this matchup here on Monday night, because Green Bay is playing Minnesota. So Green Bay could pull out a win here. I would need to look at kind of their overall matchup, but I think that they would have a better division record, because right now Detroit Lions are undefeated and the Minnesota Vikings are 3-1. So if Green Bay does beat Minnesota on Sunday, going into this Monday night game, Detroit Lions could lock up the division and potentially even to the number 1 seed as well, like with the win here. Ironically, making that Week 18 game like kind of irrelevant. So if that series of events happens, I don't see how Detroit loses this game. And like with the grudge match from last year, and then the ability to lock up home field advantage, I just don't see how they lose this game.
So I go back to the beginning of this video when you're talking about that Dan Campbell press conference. He's like, we've been eating steak all season. He's like, we won, 10 games in a row? He's like, we've been eating steak. We got used to eating steak. We needed to be reminded what eating shit tasted like. And like, so for me, it's like that in my mind is like, this Lions team is about to kill somebody. Like they're about to annihilate this Bears team. They went out, they did that. I think that they do a very similar thing to the San Francisco 49ers. Like, I still feel like they have that bad taste in their mouth from that Bills game, and they go out, they put a hurting on a declining 49ers team this year. Not saying that they're like their Super Bowl window's closing or anything under Kyle Shanahan, but like they're just not, it's not their year. And so for me, I think that's the Lions come out and they just put a hurting on them. Like it's,
I'll say this. You say since their Bills lost, since the Lions have had a bad taste in their mouth. I think they've had a bad taste in their mouth since they lost the Niners a year ago.
That's true.
Earlier this year.
That's another thing is like we've seen what they've done in those like grudge matches this year. Like go look at that Dallas game where they felt they got screwed last year. It was 47-9, and they in the third or like early fourth quarter they were like running Dan Skipper at wide receiver, basically just like taunting the Cowboys.
No, I think that's Penei Sewell in that game, but they have
no, they didn't throw anything to him. They just put Dan Skipper out wide as a wide receiver, just for shits and giggles. So that for me, I think is like it to me is just a sign of they're gonna kick the crap out of the 49ers in this one, because they I don't want to say they should have won that, because the 49ers were a very good team last year. They let that game go. They were up 2 scores in the second half, and they let it go. And so that for me, I think is the one of 2 X factors. The other one is that Dan Campbell gives great motivational speeches, and those guys play so hard for him.
Yeah, no, it just seems like, I mean, even too, I think we've done a good job kind of breaking down like even the matchups as well, because the Lions offensive line, I think, is going to dominate the San Francisco defensive line. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have 125, 130 yard rushing game as well. I think Jared Goff could potentially throw for 300 yards. Also, I bet Amon-Ra St. Brown gets all 300 of those receiving yards as well for your team. And so, but it just in general, they are just on the upward tick, and the Niners are not. So, going to be very curious just on how this game folds out. But I mean, to me, I think everybody should be picking the Lions. Or will be picking the Lions in this matchup.
Yeah. So we're both taking the Lions here. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Detroit Lions? Will it be the San Francisco 49ers? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.